Hi, first grade. Welcome to your field trip. I hope you put on some sunscreen because we're going to be outside today.
All right, boys and girls, so we are at the foot of 10 Trail. You can see the sign back there. We're at the foot of 10 Trail, and this is in Duncansville, so it's pretty close to where we all live, which is really cool. And this place is where the railroad used to be and where the canals used to be. And canals are kind of like rivers where they would have these big boats to take people places, and the railroad would help out the boats so that the boats could get through. And the problem was there was a mountain, and you can't take a boat over a mountain. So they made these things called inclines. And the reason that this is called foot of 10 is because this is the bottom of incline number 10. Those inclines were what took the boats over the mountain, and the 10th one is where our school is now. So we are here at the trail, and we're going to show you some different things that you can see if you want to come visit the trail sometime this summer.
Boys and girls, check out where we're standing. Look at how hilly and steep it is here. There's no way a train would be able to come straight up this hill. So that's why we have this great place to remember the solution. Miss Nagy, do you want to give us some more about how they solved this problem?
Absolutely. So this is along the trail that we were just walking along, and this is incline 10. So an incline was a system that wanted to get stuff from the bottom of the mountain up and over the mountain so that they could go to bigger cities like Johnstown and then eventually Pittsburgh, so that they could move stuff from one place and people from one place or another. But they had to get the stuff up the hill. They had to get the trains up the hill. So they designed a different kind of track to move up the hill called an incline, and there were 10 of them. Now, if we were to go to the foot or the bottom of this incline, then we would eventually find the little community of Foot of 10, and eventually we would find our school. Take a look a little bit more.
Also, there were 5 that went up, but there were 5 that went down because things were moving both directions across the Allegheny Portage Railroad system. So we had some inclines that were taking things up, and we had some that were taking things down. If you've ever been to Pittsburgh, you might have noticed they have several inclined planes where you can actually get into a car and ride to the top of the Mount Washington. So around our area, there are places where you can still ride an inclined plane or a funicular. And at the Horseshoe Curve, they definitely have one that you can use to go to the top. Mm-hmm. And actually, the Horseshoe Curve was the solution to this issue. And the Horseshoe Curve tracks eventually replaced the Allegheny Portage Railroad when they figured out how to bring the trains up through that curve gradually.
Firsties, so we are still on part of the 6 to 10 trail. We're just at the top part of it, and I wanted to talk to you about culverts. So you will see that there is a stone structure, and that is a culvert. Culverts were really important to the railroad because they diverted any type of stream or water to go under the railroad. So the railroad line was probably at that flat area on top of where the stone structure was, and they would divert the water to go underneath, and this was really important because then it wouldn't wash out any of the rail system.
So we followed the trail out along the path here, and we've ended up here at the Lemon House, which is a really cool place up in Crescent.
So Crescent is a city that's at the top of the mountain, and you can follow that 6 to 10 trail where we were earlier the whole way up here. And this house has been here since the 1800s. That's more than 200 years. So really long time that this house has been here. And people would, when they were on the railroads and coming up over the mountain, it was a long journey. And sometimes they needed to stop to get something to eat or maybe stay somewhere and sleep for a little while. So this was a place where they could stop and stay. So it's a really neat place and you can come visit it. Right now it's closed, but sometimes you can go inside and actually check it out and see what it was like for people who visited. So hopefully it'll be open soon and you can check it out again.
Absolutely. It's a neat place because Samuel Lemon and his wife Jean built this place in 1831, which, like Mrs. Harris said, was about almost 200 years ago. And the bottom part was like the restaurant, but the top part is where they lived. So this is a really neat place, and we're going to show you how close it is to the train next.
So right here is where the trains would come through. So we just looked at the Lemon House, and if you look over that way, you'll see the Lemon House. It's really, really close. So the trains would come up. If you look way down, you can see where this is really, really flat, and the trains would come up through here, carrying people and animals, and sometimes even canal boats that needed to get over the mountain. So they would come up through here, and you can even see some of the train tracks where the trains would be. So maybe one train was coming this way, and another train was going this way, one going up the mountain and one going down the other side. So this is all where the railroad used to be. And there would have been people and trains and boats and animals. It would have been a really, really cool place to be.
And they carried things that was really important. Our area used a lot of coal, and that was a big business. People really made a lot of money off of selling coal in our area. And so they needed to get coal from one side of the mountain to the other side, or from the other side over. And so this was the train track that they would oftentimes take. And so that helped our area make money. And so because of that, there were a lot of business travelers, and they would stop here to get a bite to eat.
Behind Pete, you can see the tracks are leading in to that building. This is the machine house for incline number 10. I imagine inside there's a mechanism that would help to pull the cars and boats up the side of the incline. And as well, it's a place where they could have kept the cars overnight and done any kind of maintenance that they might have needed. Pretty cool, right? So, boys and girls, this is a really cool diagram of what the incline system would be, or would have been. So basically, the railroad tracks and the canals ended in Hollidaysburg or Johnstown, but they had to get the whole way across this mountain part. So you can see that it was sort of a little flat here, but then they would come to the first incline. This is where foot of 10 is. This is incline 10, so foot of 10 would be here. They would pull it up the incline. There'd be another flat spot. They'd pull it up the next incline, flat spot, and it would just keep going. Now right here where we're standing and filming, we're at the top of this really highest part, and this would be incline 6. And so you can see how then this side goes down or up depending on which direction you're going. And this is a very long flat. And it's 32 miles this took to get from one side to the other. And then back in Johnstown, the trains could go back on the tracks and the boats could go back on the water.